All right. So today, I put back up the remastered and expanded Fuck Your Goat demo. Now, the Fuck Your Goat demo was the very first thing that I committed to tape or some type of physical media so I could sell it. And I wanted to have a bit of a chat about it because it seems fitting that it's come out today. It's come out the way it fucking started 18 months ago, so seems like a long time, but I wrote some stuff down because I've been watching some of my videos and they're a bit rambly, so I'm going to try not to ramble and try to keep on point. But recording that demo was interesting because I had only just started playing guitar, so I was playing with pretty much just one finger, just sliding up and down, you know, the neck and trying to find things that sounded musically kind of fitting. And that was a bit of a challenge because when you're kind of trying to find fucking notes and things that sound like a song, you forget what this hand's doing, you know. So that was a bit of a learning experience in the sense of there's rhythm involved and there's obviously notes involved, and instead of drums where you're just kind of pulsating, you know, with your natural rhythms, guitar is like that but different again, you know. And once you start playing guitar, you can, you know, you kind of realize why most guitar players are fucking mentally unstable. But this was one of those learning experiences for everyone involved. I'd never, you know, recorded anything before by myself. I definitely hadn't had any experience with miking anything. So being a few-week-old guitar player and a few-decade-old drummer and a zero-aged recording producer, this thing was recorded just outside this room near my clothes dryer. Really glamorous. Some of it was recorded upstairs in an office that I do have, but majority of it was recorded right here. And this room hadn't really even been built. We were kind of in the skeletal stages of just ripping everything out of it. And it was definitely, you know, a challenge to try and find where all your musical frequencies fit, okay? And I'm not going to fucking bore you with the nerdy shit, but when you start recording, the first thing you want to do is start turning up the thing that, you know, you feel you're the strongest at to try and hide other things. And drums was probably the instrument that I was most confident with, and I wanted to make sure that the drums were on point, you know. The problem with that is that to have drums on point, you also need to have a guitar player that can hold a riff and also potentially a click track, because I'm having enough troubles just trying to find the notes, let alone finding the notes and being on time. So that was, my first challenge. But you're not thinking of that. That's an afterthought when you start putting it all together and you really start listening to it, you know. And for the longest time, you know, I hated this demo. When it came out, I was very pleased with it. It took me about 2 weeks, 3 weeks of really listening to it, try and, you know, sink in what I'd done. And it became painfully obvious that I'd fucked it up. Now, people that I'd shown it to had said that they liked it. It didn't quite achieve the sound that I wanted, okay? Even in its amateur state of, you know, me twiddling the knobs, it didn't sound like the Beharets. It didn't sound like Bathory. It sounded more like a sludge doom album. But the vocals, though not great, the rhythmic, and I've never sung before, so the way that I vocal phrased it, you know, surprised me as to how musical some of those things were. And the first song, which today I fucking love, and I'd love to remember how to play it, and I'd love to redo it, but the first song, best title I've ever come up with, The Hammer, the Whore, and the Dead God. And the way those lyrics came about were just so fucking simple. I mean, it was done in about 5 minutes, and reading them back, it may look like it was written in 5 minutes, but the idea was you're being crucified right next to Jesus, and all the crowd going ballistic, like a live event, like a pay-per-view. And that was from the perspective that I wrote it. But it sounded like a cathedral song. Someone brought that up, and I knew it sounded familiar to me. It had a really cool kind of riffy, like a groovy riff. And yeah, it sounds like Old Cathedral, which isn't bad, but sure as fuck ain't Beharit, So some of the songs, especially the second one, has a blatant Venom riff, and I think it's, remembering back, it's like, one of the Temple of Ice era Venom riffs. But it's funny, all the shit you recall when you start to fucking write songs, and the way you think something sounds, and so you'll mimic it the best you can. And it did have some interesting moments. I thought it lent a little heavy into the death element, but what the fuck do I know at that point? I'm just trying to make it sound like songs. So once it was recorded, I pressed, when I say pressed, I fucking recorded in my home 33 copies. Okay, now 33 being a strange fucking number, but I thought, now that's kind of a line with the satanic imagery or the satanic lyrics, because I was like, well, 33, the age that Jesus was apparently crucified. So 33 copies it was. And it made sense at that point, because I was so thrilled that I'd completed some type of musical endeavor and created it myself, from the artwork to the track listing, everything about it. I gave the first one to, I gave 3 away. I can't remember who got the first one, but the 3 people who got it were Revik, Mordant Red, J-Dog from Hell's Headbangers, and Yusuke from Nuclear War Now. Did they listen to it? J-Dog probably not. Yusuke probably not. And if he did, he probably fucking hated it. But in my mind, it was, I gave it to the people who I admired the most in the scene. Yusuke being, this fucking guy who immigrates from another country, comes over, is a fucking metalhead, fucking gets Bathory and turns him into a fucking, almost a Walmart brand at this point, and is still going today. And he kind of navigated through the extreme metal landscape and has created a thriving business and a career out of it. And he's known throughout the underground, J-Dog, similar type of guy. Him and his brothers came from bedrooms and basements to fucking houses that they rented for space to warehouses. And J-Dog today is probably one of the most recognizable guys. And it's a shame that they probably didn't listen to it. In my mind, it was a relief, because it was like first impressions. I didn't want that to, if I did anything else that was better, I definitely didn't want that to overshadow it. But Revik didn't just listen to it. He shouted out my name on one of his videos, and he reviewed it. And I have no idea whether he thought it was good or not, but the encouragement was enough to do it again. And it also was enough to have people look and start buying it. Now, it was a very tough road. It wasn't like Revik said it and it flew off the shelves, but it definitely got a little bit of traction. And I got a few more emails of people who wanted it. And had mentioned that they'd seen it on the channel. And to me, that was like the fire that started, So I've told Revik this, that I pretty much, that was I would say, the genesis of how this came to be. I don't think I would have stopped, but definitely the fire that was lit was on Revik's channel, So I think I said many videos ago, make friends, send things out. And that was one of those things that I didn't expect anything other than just to know myself that someone that I respected had it, and one of them hit. And, I'll always be grateful for, the help that I got from Revik and Mordant Red. I did have this grand scheme of, because I numbered each tape. And I did have this scheme of getting number 7, being the holiest number of our 33 copies, and lighting it on fire and taping, recording it for my social media. And I did that. Well, I thought I did that. I took it outside. It was a kind of a nice afternoon. I'd gotten home from work, and number 7, or I'd sold a few, and number 7 was the next to be posted. So I take my trusty iPhone out, I take out the tape, I set my fucking phone up on a tripod, and I hit record. I go ahead and I burn the tape. It probably looked cool if I would have caught it on video, but I didn't. I took a selfie, and didn't even get a good selfie, just a fucking, like this much of me, So it was a shame that I did it. And I mean, I could have gone and got another one and burned it. It probably would have been cooler to do it, but I showed that it was number 7, and wasn't recording it. I don't know how I fucked that up. That was one of those things where I thought would have been cool to have to put on a social media thing, and I didn't get that, so I fucked it. So I blame myself, One of my first, well, wasn't be the first, but definitely an opportunity lost. It was recorded at the beginning of 2024, around January, February, and I believe that it came out in January, March, April or May. It's on my Metal Archives. You can go fucking correct me, but came out a few, weeks after that, because I had to physically fucking record 33 copies of it. And all that was really involved, and I could have really done it, was there was no mixing to be said on the album. There was drums and there was 2 guitar tracks and vocals. And one of the guitar tracks I doubled to act as a bass track. So I put it in through a bass amp, put the whatever, not an actual bass amp, but a computer generated bass amp. So it's me playing it, bass on the guitar. And I thought it sounded great, sounded like a bass, but when I really started digging into it, it sounds nothing like a bass. So we added bass to the new one, and we didn't go ahead and add a fucking AI bass. I just punched all the bass levels through the fucking ceiling, and the bass guitar, played on guitar, fucking rose through the mix, and it rumbles. I don't know how I missed that when I was putting it together. I was probably so excited just to have, a few songs down. And originally it was only going to be 3 songs, but for some reason I went for 6, being the 666. That was supposed to be the plan. Demo 1, Demo 2, Demo 3. Supposed to have 6 songs on each. They were going to be released on times that were significant, like holy dates. I had this whole fucking plan. It would have meant nothing to anyone else except for me, and that would have driven me nuts, but it didn't end up happening the way that I wanted it to happen, and I got no idea how I fucked it up, but it was written down and still couldn't get it. I think it becomes more of an excitement thing where you get this one out and you just want to do it again. The cover to that album was a photo that was taken the year prior going to a Halloween event in Sydney, Australia. And it was like, you know how you guys do the hay rides here? Well, Australia was, not much of a big deal, Halloween, but it had become something. So they had like a Halloween theme park night. And, I whacked on the corpse paint, and I had a Marduk fucking shirt on. And I think Miss A went as a fucking cowgirl zombie or something like that. And that photo was taken up in the mountains of Sydney, just out of Sydney, actually, to be, fair. But that photo had just kind of lasted through my phone. So it was like fucking a given. And at the start, it was the full face, which I still have. But when it came to formatting it for the cassette, it was like that much of my face, So the first tape actually has my full face and 3 tracks. The one that everyone bought after that was half face and 6 tracks. So, a little bit of random useless knowledge for you. The guitars were all tuned to D, all right? And the reason I did that was because I had a guitar friend, and the question I asked him when I started was, what's a tuning I can go to where I could just play with one finger and it would sound heavy? He suggested D. And not just, I don't think it was drop D, it could have been open D, whatever it is. It's like D, A, D, G, something. I think it's like a fucking B flat or something, whatever it is. So I ran with that for the longest time, and even up to the recording of the last album was all in that tuning. And it worked for me. Since then, everything that I've been doing recently is all back in standard tuning, and it's opened up a whole new bunch of possibilities. But the first few demos that I'm still kind of releasing are all in that same tuning that the Fuck Your Goat demo has been, was recorded in, because I just thought that it would be easier to write in that key. And there was a lot of bands back in the 90s who were all tuning down 7-string guitars that achieved a heavier fucking thing. They weren't playing black metal, but I thought that I might have been able to pick up an extra fucking low end to try and disguise the fact that I couldn't play for shit. And that was pretty much the recording of it. The drums were an electronic kit that I actually played. The sound that I got from that kit was a standard acoustic kit that was preloaded into it. Since then I've found ways to completely fuck with that, and that's been an absolute game changer as far as what I can do both at the brains of the unit and the the fucking on through the door. But it was very simply done, and it was recorded over the space of 48 hours because I just couldn't stop. It was so exciting, I just couldn't stop doing it. And there's a lot of things that were wrong with it. The timing was off. There was no time at all, really. The guitars were out of tune by the end of it. I didn't really know how to tune them. And it didn't hit the sound that I wanted. But I think that's the beauty of it, because to this day, I really don't think that I sound like your average one-man black metal band. So I think that's kind of stayed with me. And whether that's something that's internal, that is going to come through no matter how much you try to change it, or it was just a lack of talent and experience, I got that sound, and that's always going to be the first demo which I put out. Would I have done anything different? Sure. Could I have? Probably not. So if I had to give anyone any advice about your first demo, is just record it and put it out. It's a demo. It's supposed to be inferior. That's the point. Demos today have become like a an art form of, people have put so much effort into them, except if it's, like a live rehearsal or some type of live type of setting. A lot of demos are kind of manipulated to be demos, which I don't know if that makes sense, but it feels very not, it doesn't feel authentic. It feels like it's a fabricated thing. And considering that if they had the equipment to record drums, guitars, and bass and vocals, chances are they could probably have, made it sound half decent and, released something that wasn't a demo. But in saying that too, mine still would have been a demo, whether it sounded like fucking Metallica or the way it sounded. I just like the idea of having a demo up first. And it also is a thing that you can use that will kind of gauge what people will like. Like I kind of got the understanding when I've heard people talk about it, about what songs they didn't like, what songs they did like, and then you try to emulate those characteristics. So I guess in the grand scheme of things, a demo doesn't just have to be a sound. It can be you throwing out songs that you may not want to stick on a full length, or songs that you think are cool, but you just want to test the waters and see, what you would keep, and if you were going to do a longer version of it or a re-recording of it. So that's the fuck you goat. It was very short and sweet, and I've come to love it after disliking it for so long. And the next one that came after that was also supposed to be a demo, but that didn't eventuate as a demo. Sounded like a fucking demo. Didn't come out being called a demo. The Fuck You Goat expanded version on CD can be picked up right now at the Fomorian Productions website, fomorianproductions.com, or you can just Google it now. We fix some shit, so you can find us on Google. If you want to check it out, stream it, have a listen to it. It's on the WARHAMMER666 bandcamp. You can go and have a listen to how it sounds. The bandcamp uploads always sound really good. I don't know what fuckery they're doing over there, but they can somehow figure shit out so it sounds good. And you can buy the cassette. That's very limited, and I've probably got 2 left at this recording, but my Bandcamp will have some old demos, which I'm just kind of putting out there in small quantities. I'll do them again, but first runs are always special. There's always something different, because I'll always fucking change something, whether it be artwork, color scheme, something. But this is kind of a cool, black and white, old school Xerox looking motherfucker. And it's a half an hour's worth. It's like 9 songs. There's like 9 songs on it. So I've added a few extras that were recorded after, when I figured out how the click track worked. Do they sound any better? Maybe. But they're better written songs. And I've never had them on anything before, so they're exciting in the sense that you ain't never heard them. So there is that. So go and check it out, stream it. Eventually I'll chuck it up on YouTube and you can see it through there. But Bandcamp at the moment, you can go over there and hit play and you can preview all the songs. Fuck you goat. Oh, the other thing I will add is that when I named it Fuck You Goat, the reason why it was called that was because at the time when I was trying to think of names and artworks and stuff, every band just had goat in the title or goat in their artwork. And I was like, you could see this trend of black, white and red album covers that all had goats, like raping angels or fucking demons or, destroying things. And I was like, well, this is just another trend that I can see kind of poking its head up. And I was like, well, how do I get my foot in that, kind of buck that system and kind of join it at the same time? And I thought, fuck your goat. Fuck your goat. Everyone who has goat in the title, just fuck your goat. So I kind of was in it by being out of it. Fucking smart. Tell you, mate. Not just a pretty face. But I'm not even that even. Anyway, fucking, I'm going to go do something that's more constructive than talking to a camera. And if you go check it out, thank you. For more productions where you can buy the CD. Bandcamp is where you can buy a cassette version of it. See you later.